Muhammad Ali walks into a gym and changes everything. The heavy glass door groans open as Muhammad Ali steps into Mickey's boxing gym on Chicago's South Side. A worn leather bag hangs from his shoulder. Nothing flashy, just purpose. It's February 1975, Thursday evening, a little after 6. Outside, the air bites with cold. Inside, heat pulses through the room, bodies grinding, sweat steaming, gloves pounding against heavy bags like a relentless drumline. This isn't a glamorous arena. This is a workers' gym. Real fighters, real grit. Faded fight posters cling to the walls. Chains creak under the weight of 3 battered heavy bags. In the center, a ring, ropes frayed, canvas patched, history soaked into every inch. Ali is 35 now, just 3 months removed from his legendary victory over George Foreman in Zaire. Still the heavyweight champion of the world, still the man everyone watches. But he's not here for applause. He's here to work. Because mastery, he knows, decays without discipline. He's meeting a young amateur tonight, a kid named Tommy, raw talent, weak fundamentals, potential waiting to be shaped. Around a dozen fighters fill the space. Jump ropes slap the floor in rhythmic cadence. Gloves smack leather. Trainers murmur corrections. Occasional grunts slice through the air. Ali slips into a quiet corner, drops his bag, begins his ritual. Arm circles, hip rotations, light shadow boxing. Simple, precise, intentional. Gray sweatpants, white t-shirt, no spectacle, no ego, just a craftsman sharpening his tools. Heads turn, of course, hard not to notice the most famous fighter alive, but this place has its own code, respect, not worship. A few nods, quiet greetings. Evening, champ, then back to work. That's the respect Ali values, earned, not given. After 10 minutes, he steps to a heavy bag. No theatrics, no dazzling flurries, just fundamentals. Left jab, right cross, step, reset. Again. Each punch lands with a crisp snap, clean, surgical, the sound of technique perfected over years of sacrifice. His feet glide, efficient, economical. The famous shuffle appears in flashes, but mostly he moves like a man who understands space better than anyone in the room. Never still, never predictable. Even in training, his defense breathes instinctively, head slipping, shoulders rolling, always just out of reach. Some fighters pause to watch, not out of awe, out of study. They notice things casual eyes miss, the torque of his hips, the recoil of his jab, the microscopic shifts in distance. This isn't performance, this is mastery. That's when Frank Kowalski approaches. 6'4", nearly 280 pounds, a mountain carved from muscle and years of violence. His forearms look like iron cables, his chest a barrel, hands like slabs of granite. A former professional wrestler, 15 years in the trenches, matches that stretched 40 brutal minutes. His career ended 2 years ago, a knee injury. Now he trains fighters, teaches strength, teaches control. He's been watching Ali.
And he's not impressed. Not because Ali lacks skill. Even Frank can see the precision. But Frank comes from a different world. A world where strength dominates. Where you don't dance, you dominate. Where you don't evade, you control. He steps closer, arms crossed, studying Ali like a flawed equation. Ali finishes a combination, lets the bag settle, wipes sweat from his brow. turns. "Afternoon," he says calmly. Neutral, polite, measured. Frank nods slowly. "Muhammad Ali," he says, not greeting, confirming. "That's right," Ali replies. "Don't think we've met. Frank Kowalski." They shake hands. Ali feels it immediately, the crushing grip, years of raw power embedded in that handshake. "I was a wrestler, 15 years. Now I train here." "Wrestling's tough," Ali replies. "Takes real strength." Frank smiles. Not kindly. "That's what I want to talk about," he says. "Strength." Ali waits, listening. "I've been watching you. You've got skill, fast hands, good movement." A pause. "But you're getting old." The room shifts. Subtle, quiet, but noticeable. 33, Frank adds. "That's old in fighting." Ali's face doesn't change, but his attention sharpens. "I see it," Frank presses on. "You're slower now, not like before." The gym quiets. Conversations fade. Eyes drift toward them. "Speed doesn't matter," Frank says, stepping closer, "when someone can grab you, someone my size." He looms now, close enough to impose. "I outweigh you by nearly 90 pounds. That's not small, that's overwhelming." Ali nods slightly. "Size is an advantage," he agrees. Frank blinks, thrown off. He expected resistance, not agreement. "Exactly," Frank says, regaining momentum. "So all this boxing, it works in a ring, with rules." His voice grows louder. "But real fighting, I rush you, grab you, take you down. It's over." Silence now, complete. Ali studies him. "You think so?" he asks softly. "I know so." Frank leans in. "Boxing isn't real fighting." The line lands, heavy, deliberate. Ali pauses, then quietly. "Want me to show you something?" Frank grins. "Yeah, show me." "I won't use boxing," Ali says. That grin widens. "Even better." "Try to grab me." Frank laughs. "That's it?" "That's it." Frank squares up, drops into a wrestler's stance. In his mind, it's simple. Close distance, grab, control, prove the point. "Ready?" he asks. Ali nods, hands relaxed, no guard. Frank charges, fast, powerful, arms reaching, and then nothing.
Ali shifts, just inches, a subtle step to the side. Frank's hands grasp empty air. Momentum carries him forward. Before he can recover, Ali glides again, effortless, untouchable. Frank stumbles, regains footing, turns. Ali stands exactly where he started, calm, breathing steady. Frank exhales, slightly rattled. Again. This time he's more careful, circling, cutting angles. Ali watches, reads. Frank commits. Ali steps back, slightly left, just enough. Frank overreaches. Ali places his hand on his shoulder, guides him, redirects him. Frank stumbles straight into a heavy bag, grabbing it to stay upright. 4 seconds. That's all it took. "One more?" Ali asks. Frank's pride is cracking now. He charges again. No technique, just force. Ali moves even less this time. A small step, a subtle extension of his foot. Frank trips, falls hard. Hands and knees, breath knocked out. 6 seconds. Silence fills the gym. Frank rises slowly, confused, embarrassed. Ali steps forward, offers a hand. "You okay?" Frank nods, still processing. "How?" he asks. Ali smiles faintly. "Strength matters," he says. "You're right about that." A pause. "But timing matters more." He gestures toward the ring. "You used your strength when I was ready, when I could see it, when I had space." Frank listens, fully now. Speed isn't about beating strength. It's about creating moments. He taps the heavy bag. Watch. A light jab. The bag barely moves. Now watch again. Frank pushes the bag toward him. Ali times the same jab. Impact explodes. Same punch, different timing. Smarter, he says, not harder. Frank nods slowly. Understanding dawns. So when I rushed you, I used your strength, Ali finishes. Frank exhales, his certainty dissolving. You weren't wrong, Ali says. You just didn't know how to use what you had. Silence. Then, will you teach me? Frank asks. Sincere, humble. Ali smiles. You want to learn from someone too old and slow? Frank looks down. I was wrong. No, Ali says gently. You were learning. And just like that, a challenge becomes a lesson. An ego becomes a student. And 10 seconds? They become a lifetime of understanding.
What followed didn't feel like a victory. It felt like a beginning. Frank stood there, chest still rising from the fall, but something inside him had shifted, not broken, refined. The kind of shift that only comes when certainty collapses and something deeper takes its place. Ali could see it, that moment when pride loosens its grip, that moment when a man becomes teachable. Come by next week, Ali said casually, picking up his towel. Same time. Frank blinked. You serious? Ali shrugged. Only if you are. No speech, no ceremony, just an open door. The next Thursday, Frank showed up early, not as the biggest man in the room, not as the strongest, but as the most attentive. Ali didn't treat him like a beginner, didn't strip away his wrestling, didn't try to rebuild him from scratch. He refined him. They started with footwork, not flashy movement, not dancing, positioning, angles, distance. How far you are from a man decides everything, Ali told him. Too close, you get smothered. Too far, you can't touch him. The fight lives in that space. Frank had never thought of it that way. In wrestling, you close distance. In boxing, you control it. That difference changed everything. Weeks turned into months. Frank kept coming back, twice a week, sometimes more. He learned how to step without wasting energy, how to shift weight without announcing it, how to move his head before danger arrived, not after. Ali showed him rhythm, not just speed, but tempo. When you're predictable, Ali said, tapping his glove against Frank's shoulder, you're already beat. Frank began to see it. Fighting wasn't just force, it was timing, it was deception, it was patience wrapped in movement.
And something unexpected happened. Frank started teaching too. Not formally, not like a coach, but in moments, in exchanges, in quiet corrections. He showed Ali how wrestlers think in the clinch, how balance can be stolen, how leverage beats brute force when applied correctly. Your center, Frank said once, pressing lightly against Ali's torso. That's where control begins. Ali nodded. He listened, because greatness doesn't stop learning. The gym noticed. At first it was curiosity, then fascination. The giant learning footwork from the dancer, the champion studying leverage from the grappler. Two worlds colliding, not in conflict, in collaboration. Young fighters started staying late just to watch. They weren't just seeing techniques, they were seeing evolution. Frank changed, slowly, quietly. He stopped relying on force alone, stopped charging, started thinking. His movements became sharper, more deliberate, less wasteful. He wasn't just strong anymore. He was dangerous in a different way. Controlled, calculated, complete. 2 years later, Frank opened a small gym of his own. Nothing fancy. Concrete floors, basic equipment, honest work. But his philosophy was different. He didn't teach boxing. He didn't teach wrestling. He taught understanding. How to use what you have, he'd tell his students, and how to recognize when it's not enough. He called it hybrid fighting, but it wasn't about styles, it was about awareness. Every now and then, Ali would stop by. No announcements, no cameras, just quiet visits. They'd talk, train, laugh. Two men who had once stood on opposite sides of an idea, now standing on the same side of growth. Years later, when people asked Frank about the most important moment of his life, he never mentioned titles, never mentioned victories. He talked about 10 seconds. 10 seconds, he'd say, shaking his head with a half smile. That's all it took. A pause. For me to realize I didn't know what I thought I knew. He'd look around at his students, young, confident, certain, just like he once was. Be careful what you think you understand, he'd tell them, because the person you doubt, another pause, might be the one who changes everything. And somewhere in that memory, a quiet gym in Chicago, a cold evening, a champion who didn't need to prove anything, and a man strong enough to admit he had something to learn.